All right, guys. So in the last video, we finished up by deciding that if we were going to meet our conditions, that a two sample t-test would be better than a paired test. Unfortunately, I blew past this whole point right here that says if conditions are met. I had 5 data points over here and 5 data points over here, and it just isn't enough data to feel comfortable doing a t-test. You could go ahead and graph your sample data, and I did that here. You'll see that the classical group is fairly skewed in the sense that the tail is way longer on the left than the right, but you're looking at 5 data points. A box and whisker is made from 5 data points. It's just really not enough data where this isn't the best thing to do to run a t-test when you look at your data sets. So instead, what we're going to end up doing is running a simulation on the problem and trying to figure out how significant our results are. So I've got a really sweet illustration here using, again, Microsoft Paint. Up top at the in black up here, what we have going on is basically this is our data that we got in real life. This is what the kids got when they ran their experiments. And then we've got this girl over here who hypothetically is playing devil's advocate and working for our null hypothesis. She basically says that the type of music has no effect at all on plant growth. This plant right here, for example, that grew 22, was going to grow 22 no matter where it got put. If it was classical or metal, it was just destined to grow 22. Same thing, this guy over here, this really awesome plant that grows 124, it was just a good bean seed. It happened to be in the classical group. If it was in the metal group, it was still going to grow 124. So her claim, this red person right here, is that the 47.6, the negative 47.6 that we got, isn't that big of a deal. It occurred just because that's how the plants were dealt out when I randomly assigned them. So in order to figure out if that's actually true or not, we are going to shuffle up all 10 of our bean seeds, randomly redeal them, and calculate our new sample mean. So looking at the red simulation here, these are the 5 numbers they got. Same 10 numbers up above. We could write them on index cards or something and just deal out 2 groups of 5 because we're assuming that the type of music made no difference at all. Under this redeal, the mean for the metal group was a 65.4. If you average the 5 numbers that she got dealt, the classical is a 58.6 when you average those 5 cards, and the sample mean, the difference in the sample means, is a positive 6.8. Of course, we know that you have to do this lots and lots of times for it to actually matter. So we have another guy over here, this blue guy, who agrees, same concept, just shuffle up the 10 numbers and redeal them again. This time we got those numbers for the metal, we got these numbers for the classical, and if you subtract the sample means that we get, it was a negative 12.8. So you're going to see, if you look at my graph down here, there's my red dot from the first one, there's my blue dot from right now, negative 12.8. We would do that a bunch of times. I'm not going to sit here and Microsoft Paint 10 different stick figures. So I've got a bunch of dots right here. I believe there are 15 trials in all. And what you do once you have enough data where you redeal the points, calculate your means, etc., is you want to look at what actually happened in real life. In real life, we got a negative 47.6, which would be there on my simulation. Never in my 15 redeals did I ever get a difference that extreme. So what that would tell me is that my p-value for this problem is pretty low because I was not able to reproduce this. My p-value is basically 0 or 0 out of 15. So when I look at this problem, my p-value is approximately 0. That would lead me to reject HO. I'm going to reject my null hypothesis because the evidence is pretty extreme. I was not able to reproduce what I got from my sample data. If I reject HO, I don't have time to write the whole thing out right there. But remember, HO says there is no difference in my 2 groups right here. I would have convincing evidence for my alternative, which is, in other words, saying that the classical music plants did grow more on average than my metal. So the evidence based on my simulation right here would be to suggest that, yeah, that 47.6, that is a big deal. It didn't happen by chance, most likely. And the classical music is responsible for the difference being so big between my 2 groups. And that